let's go back into that. We talked about Marty Supreme, we talked about the Irfan, but let's go back to that other thing we talked about, which is like this larger than life zone. When you watch a Pathan or a Jawan, how do you process that as an actor?
I enjoy it for the spectacle it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you also like as in, because you've not done a certain kind of romance or a certain kind of action,
Yeah.
do you also kind of put yourself in like, that's something that I would like to do, that's
Completely depends on
completely
depends on who the filmmaker is. You know, is it a character that I would like to do?
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I'll be honest with you, sir, I didn't grow up on a lot of commercial cinema, so the impact that it's had on me is very limited.
Okay, all right. That makes sense. Okay.
I grew, Jamshedpur had 2 theaters, and I probably watched 8 films in Jamshedpur till I was 13. I can name you all 8.
Name.
There was Yuva, there was Kaate, there was Jurassic Park, there was Titanic, there was Aap Mujhe Achhe Lagne Lage.
That's commercial.
My uncle and aunt took me for that. They used to love Abhishek Bachchan. And there was Dhoom, commercial as heck. My brother and his friends, never forget that experience. That's it. Those are the films I've seen.
You're right.
So my exposure to commercial cinema was so limited, apart from Dhoom and Aap Mujhe Achhe Lagne Lage, was that it never had that...
So you never had that, like people say, I wanted to grow up to these X star, Y star. That was never...
It wasn't relatable to me when people around me were talking like that. I couldn't relate to it at all.
Okay. You were just like, I want to be an actor. Not like, I want to be like this person.
I said that when I was probably 19 or 20 for the first time. That I want to be an actor.
Yeah, but even then, it wasn't like, I want to, like...
Not
want to be this specific trajectory actor. Not that. It was, I want to be in this profession.
I just want to act because I like...
You like acting.
I like the skill of it. Yeah, I like what I get to do with it.
Right. Because I see that even Tu Ya Main, I know a lot, there has been a lot of back and forth about whether Tu Ya Main really needed the romance portion, but it really worked for me. And I was like, it really worked for me because I was like, wow, I'm getting to know these two people before they get into that horrible situation. And that getting to know them was very interesting to me because the character that you played, the character that Shania played, and obviously whatever was written by Himanshu and Abhishek. So that all that stuff, like the way Bijoy filmed it, it was like watching two people from a very, like this old, it's such a cliche, right? It's like rich girl, poor boy, or poor girl, rich boy. That contrast is such a cliche. But the way it played out in this film was so beautiful. And
because I guess Bijoy encouraged us to play the people and not the tone of it.
Yeah.
He was always very sure about it.
What's the tone of it?
The tone of it, it's like you can play the idea of the person right. Because it's a commercial film.
Yeah.
Or you can actually just be honest to the story and think about what this person would actually behave like.
As opposed to the broad strokes of...
as opposed to imposing the commercial lens on it.
Okay. Would you say Tu Ya Main is a commercial film?
Yes.
Okay.
I think any film that releases in a large number of screens is a commercial film for me.
There's also an ethos or an aesthetic that's commercial, right?
Sure.
That's not related to the number of screens.
Yes, but your ethos will dictate the number of screens you have.
Okay. That sounded like a very...
But you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't make a film of a certain tone and be like, hey distributor,
but
you put this in your theater. It had a big release.
Big release, yeah.
For me, it was the biggest release I've had.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost twice the number of screens that any of my previous films have had.
So
at least twice.
If you were to take away a learning from this film, what would it be? Learnings?
There's no learnings, I'm just grateful that I got to be learning in the sense that, yes, I'm very grateful for the fact that I got to be in front of as many people as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I had access to a larger number of people. I'm grateful.
As an audience?
As an audience.
Okay.
I feel like at least 10,000 people more in India know about who I am as opposed to what they did before Tu Ya Main. At least.
Right.
The number could be much larger, I'm guessing. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for Bijoy and Anand sir giving me an opportunity to lead a commercial film in that sense and to be able to sing and rap in the film. It's rare for an actor to get that chance. Very rare. Very rare.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. And I think,
I was talking to a friend of mine right after the release, and I guess that day I was like a bit, overwhelmed by everything that was happening. There's so much, like, you're in the middle of it. You're hearing about how much film the money is making at the box office. You're hearing people's opinions, everything. And I remember speaking to a friend, and he told me that, you're so lucky that you're like one out of probably like 50 people in the entire Hindi movie industry who has a film where you're getting to play the lead in like a Anand El Rai film with Bijoy Nambia directing it. Just the fact that you have this opportunity is so rare, where so many people want to be actors in our country and the competition is so intense. When you put things just into perspective a little bit, suddenly you have a lot more to be thankful for.
No, but you're right, because that perspective is very important, because but what happens with human nature is that we always look at what we don't have rather than what we have.
Yeah.
And that's something that everyone has to train themselves to kind of think.
I feel like when you start focusing on the right things and things that actually matter, the world kind of falls into place.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like everything else around you kind of realigns and adjusts.
Yeah, but then you also spoke about we're living in an age of so much information that even if you want to cut off certain, let's say, negativity or whatever it is, somehow it makes its way to you. And that's irritating, because you're like trying your best to stay away from it all, but then some well-meaning friend will say, like, hey, look what just I found about you, or something like that. And
it's like you get the best blinds, but you always have that one place from where the sunlight is hitting your eye.
Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, okay. So it was great talking to Adarsh.
Likewise. I'm sorry if I was babbling a little bit.
I love the babbling bit, because sometimes these very tuned and focused answers, they seem rehearsed, and I like that I got a hazy picture of you rather than a super in focus picture of you, which means that there's more of you to explore, and I think maybe we can do that in the future. But right now, all the best. I hope Tu Ya Main finds its audience